Coach, I guess first question, obviously, you've had a couple closed-door scrimmages, and not asking for specific details, but what were some of your biggest takeaways from those scrimmages?
They were awesome. Yeah, I love those opportunities. I'm a big fan of the closed-door scrimmages for a variety of reasons. We played a charity game as well since we've been here, but you could tailor-make it, obviously working with the other staff on what the program's going to be, if you will, and segments, and you can work on your team, going against someone else. We usually play one earlier than most. I found that it's such a marathon season for us, and there's something for them to look forward to, and then for us, to get a glimpse of where we're at, what's lacking, etc. So just pleased that we were able to have the opportunities. I think got better the 2 weeks between the closed-door scrimmages, and now the goal is to learn and grow from the last one that we just had on Sunday, and that was kind of the plan, to give us a good week to get back to the drawing board and strengthen some things up.
We'll go to Benjamin and then to Jacob to Coach's right.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about bringing on Jordan Sperber to your staff. I know obviously he's a big numbers and analytics guy. What sort of drew you to him, and what does he bring to the staff for you guys?
Well, when James Miller left in the spring, we took our time. We were obviously in the middle of a lot at that time of the year with the portal and retention. So we kind of tabled it, and then after much thought, basically decided not to necessarily replace James, but to reshuffle the deck and take a bird's eye view of it and figure out what we needed to make our program better. And Jordan's someone I'm familiar with having worked for him a year at New Mexico State. So he was on the previous staff. When I got the job, he was a holdover from the previous staff. His career timeline was, he's one of those guys that graduated early from college. I think he went to Villanova, and then got into college coaching. He worked with Musselman at Reno, Nevada, and then a year at New Mexico State. And when I got the job, I didn't have any intentions of keeping anyone from the previous staff. I was going to hire my own guys, but I certainly spent some time with them and interviewed with them. And I will never forget when Jordan left the room after his presentation. I'm like, I'm hiring that guy. Like, he was very made an impact on me. I thought he could influence winning then, and now 6 years later, he went off and was running his own company called Hoop Vision and did very, very well with it. Very respected guy in our industry, and we had a personal relationship, and we had a casual conversation one day, and there was some interest in both ways, so we pursued it and ended up making it happen. I just feel like he looks at the game a little bit differently than the average coach, and all he's done for 6 years is study basketball. That's what he's done, is study the nuances of the game and how different people coach and teach the game and play the game. And so he's been beneficial already, but I believe that he'll even make us better as the season unfolds and trying to solve problems. And I really looked at it as like, who can make us 2 or 3 points better every single night, which when you play a lot of close games, that could be the difference.
How has this offseason been different than maybe your first 2 years here?
The first year's just different no matter what, because no matter how many players are back, it's all new. The vocabulary, terminology is foreign to them, and it takes time to everybody get on the same page. You've heard that from all the first-year coaches, I'm sure. But last year we had so many guys coming back, so we had that carryover. This year we didn't, so it certainly wasn't like the first year, but it felt more likened to that in terms of getting people on the same page, and learning and understanding the standard, the expectations that we've had. We just had so many guys back after our first season. I think we had all 5 starters, if I remember correctly, and so it was just different that way.
We'll go to Sam to Coach's left.
And going back to kind of a late spring, early summer when you were constructing the roster for this season, how much intention did you have in that of building a roster to win games in March, and how have you maybe seen that kind of come together now?
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say it was just to win games in March. It was to fill holes that we had once the dust settled and we knew who was coming back. And it's pretty obvious that, scoring baskets was something we had in the back of our mind, and who we brought in to replace the guys that left or graduated. And so that was a big push for us, is to get guys on the perimeter especially that were multidimensional, that could score for themselves, that could create for others, take some pressure off of Josh on the perimeter with the amount of attention that he deservedly received as the season unfolded last year. And, as these games unfold, we'll see how it works.
Go to Danny P. and then back to Paul.
Following off Sam's question, Riley already has a look of an SEC guard. Obviously, he was at Florida. What have you seen from him since practice started and realizing that?
Yeah, I mean, everybody can see the talent and the body. He's got 2 years of SEC experience under his belt, which obviously helps. Hopefully it'll help him a lot once we get to the game portion of the schedule. He's still learning how we need to play. Every team's different. Every staff's different. And you have an idea what's best for you individually. And maybe sometimes we have an idea what's best for you individually for our team. And not specific to Riley, but for all the new players, that's something that we're continuing to work through to try to get everybody on the same page. I've said this many times that team sports are so unique, like basketball and football and all of them, that when you have kids that aspire to be professionals and get paid, do this for a living, they have individual goals, and rightfully so. But to get them to all be together and try to reach those individual goals within the concepts of the team is a task, a difficult task at times, and that's what we're working on. But Riley has gotten a lot better since the summer. His buy-in gets better and better. He's got all the talent in the world, and we're hoping he can get it on the floor.
Paul, go ahead.
Obviously, the season will dictate a lot of this, and I know you got some guys on the roster that are kind of pigeonholed to their position, and especially when you look at center and possibly even point guard with Clary. But talking to the guys last week, it seems like a lot of them are can play different positions. You feel like, I know the season will dictate a lot of it, but you feel like this is a more versatile team with different mixes and matches that you can do than you've had in the past?
In terms of Mississippi State, yeah, I think we've got the ability to play different lineups. And I also believe with the system changes that we put in place starting last year with being a little more positionless rather than, structured with positions and numbers, that allows, guys to move around a little bit. And one thing I always tell every team that we have is the more positions that you can learn, the better chance for your minutes. You just, if you are pigeonholed, using your word, in one spot, 40 minutes are available in that spot, and you got how many other guys? If you can play multiple, now, you made yourself more flexible that way. So that's something we talk about with our guys all year long, and taking extra time to learn different positions. But it's easier now than it was before for most programs because of the position lists and the 5-out and the 4-out ball screens and the dribble drive, because it's what can you do? What can you do? And for me, it's more on the other end, like who can you guard? That really determines what your position is what positions you can defend on the floor.
We'll go to David in the middle next to Morgan.
What have the scrimmages shown you about your post play? I mean, you've got 3 guys you brought in, sophomores, with some talent, still learning, and I guess Keyshawn could be throwing that punch as well. But what have you seen from your guys in the paint?
They're getting better. It's no secret that Jimmy Bell and Toto Smith aren't walking through that door anytime soon, and they were a big part of our team last year with their size, their physicality, their girth. Certainly, both at different times, especially Tolu with his ability to demand double teams and play through the post. And you've already heard this before from me. in the offseason is we're going to be different this year in terms of our style of play. It's going to be more of an outside-in focus, but not to say we're not going to throw the ball inside, you know, and some of them are speeding up the learning process better than others. We're gaining confidence in each other about throwing it in there more and having that be a part of our arsenal on offense. But the best thing about the group of kids that you mentioned is they're awesome kids, and they're coachable. Their eyes are wide open. They come to practice every day with a work mindset of getting better. And because of that, they've made strides. And I really believe that will continue once they get more game experience under their belt.
Got time for a couple more. We'll go back to Sam to coaches left.
Expectations for the season are pretty high, and possibly more so for this particular program than they've been in a long time. Now, how do you just think that this team will be able to handle those kind of expectations and maybe pressure too?
Yeah, I don't think we feel any pressure at all. At least I don't. They do. They haven't voiced it to me. You know, we're not ranked in the top 25, or we're not ranked anywhere that I've seen projected a high finish in the SEC. I know the league's going to be really, really good, but I don't think that we've been overhyped at all. We've got some unbelievable competition ahead of us, and we're really just focused on getting better and playing as a team and understanding who we are and how we need to play to win. But we haven't talked about any of that kind of stuff in our room.
Go back to David.
What can you tell us about West Georgia? I mean, it's time to start the season. Now you've got an appointment coming in, so what about the first game?
Yeah, I don't know that much about them yet. I'm not in scout mode. I don't even want to think about getting in scout mode. The walls are closing in, with the games coming and the routine coming, and just scout mode is a whole different mentality for all of us upstairs. But they're a transitional team. They've been Division II, and they're a new Division I team, and so this will be a great opportunity for them too. I mean, it's their first Division I game, if I'm not mistaken, and so it'll be historical that way, and we just got to make sure we're ready to go.